Alright, so in this one we are going to be doing our Legends Fest Part 1, since it's going to be 3 different tier lists probably, because every new unit that comes from Legends Fest, the LF at least, will most likely be a meta shifter, right? We could probably assume that in the safety precaution of that, looking at MUI, Dragon Fist, USV, when they all came out, they were big meta shifters, if not just very viable and very good. So this is going to be part 1 of probably 3 Legends Fest top 10 lists we'll be doing here. Oh man, I'm looking right now at the side here. I'm looking at my pre-Legends Fest top 10. I'm not, you know, really in disagreement with this. I'm not really stunned by it. I think it's pretty accurate. My pre-Legends Fest top 10, I'll go over right now, was Beaston number 1, Pan number 2, Puddle number 3, Ultra Broly number 4, Forku number 5, Ultra Gogeta number 6, Cooler number 7, Trunks number 8, Revhon number 9, and USV number 10. I'm pretty content with that for pre-Legends Fest. And now with Legends Fest arriving and us having the tag Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta, I do think a shift happens, especially in the higher thresholds. A shift does happen that I think is pretty important. I would say it's actually pretty impactful. So let's begin. We go from 10 to 1. Usually these lists, I don't really have to say this, but I'll just say it now. Usually these lists are very high stars. I'm looking at the side here. I have, I think, every singular unit on this list at 14 stars. If not one of them, or 2 of them would be 9 stars, and that'd be like, I don't know, if Cooler made the list, he'd be 9 stars, right? Or like, something like that. Or Trunks, if he made the list, because the last list, they were both on the list, right? So, I have almost everybody 14 stars that were on the last list, and most units that will be on this list, if not all of them, will all be 14 stars. So that's from my experience of 14 starring all these units, and using them and understanding how they work. So, from 10, we begin. Now, just so you know, 10 is probably the hardest one to do. So if it takes me a little bit here, I don't pre-plan these. I'm not like, okay, let me just, you know, go through this without, with a structure already made. No, I like to just think about it in the spot because it actually gives, I feel like, more meaning if you could just think on the spot and figure out, like, okay, what's going on. And obviously at the end of the video, it'll be the most accurate, but we move here, and I actually already have a take, because the bottom ones are going to be the hot takes, right? I think top 5 is pretty concrete, and like people that are in it, I wouldn't say the order is very concrete for most players, but the units in top 5 are pretty concrete. But 6 through 10 is like the most mishmash shit, because like the differential on their powers is just fucking insanity. Number 10. Okay, so I'm in already a toss-up situation here. I'm looking at this and I see a toss-up for myself. Alright. Also, the tag 4s and the 17, their renders aren't here, so we're going to use G4 as the tag 4s, just placement's sake, and then the free-to-play 17 as the new 17 if we put them, right? And I'm already at a threshold here where I'm a little bit lost. Okay, so what I'm thinking is 2 units tie. I'm going to try to figure this out in my head. So I think USV ties 10 with I think USV ties 10, and that is with Mr. Piccolo. Now, let me explain why. Piccolo is on movies, and we do have the Tag 4s out, and what you have right now is actually a very nice and niche spot for Piccolo. If you run Superhero, you can counter out the Tag 4s. The Tag 4s are very good. Their minimum of top 5 unit, I feel like, is very much agreed upon for most players, so you'd want to counter them out. So you have Beast Gohan, counters out the Vegeta. Piccolo counters out the Goku. Also, Piccolo's Blast Base, they both have strike cover changes. That also works out well there. And while USV has no team, I mean, he could leader slot, but, like, Pan still exists. Like, this is a very strong red. And even more so, what purple is flowing around in PvP? Like, Ultra Broly, but that's the purple that's flowing around that goes defensive neutral when they swap in, right? So it's like the maintain of advantage. He doesn't have any advantage anywhere. He actually has more disadvantage than advantage in most settings. So I actually want to put Piccolo as number 10 here, just because how well he can work out against the Tag 4s, and obviously having Beast and Pan on his team, which are both top 3 units in this game, I actually like to say Piccolo is number 10 here. I think that's pretty pretty interesting, honestly, because Piccolo, I know he's paper, but he does help beat out a very new and good unit. And yes, I know the Tag Force, Beast, Pan, all these units will go down after boost. We're in the boost. These units are in the boost. I'm acknowledging them in the boost. I'm not thinking, how can they age 2 months from now when I don't know who's coming out, what units coming out, what value they will be, what tags they'll be. You can't predict this. You don't know. Okay, will the Tag Force be bottom 20 in 2 months? Will they be top 3? We do not know anything. We could assume, but we don't know the buffs. We don't know what plats. We don't know anything about what's coming, right? So assuming where they'll be, because people always like to do that, like, oh, they might be here, they might be here. You can't presume where they're gonna be when we don't know anything that's coming out, right? Piccolo, I will say, is 10 though. I will say is 10 because the Tag 4s and how he just goes with the superhero team. That superhero team is very nice. Just mention some honorable units that could have made this but won't make it. Majin Vegeta, I still think this guy's very good. He's still just underused to hell. I think he fits a very good mold. Obviously, he's a little bit less valued now because of the Tag 4s and Goku leading, but he still is a very good unit. I would say androids almost make this as well. They do gain more value with having the full nullify endurance, and it's just that they had a third unit, because you'd run 17 androids and then Cell right now. Cell doesn't cut it fully. I mean, Cell does work, and Cell's very good, but Cell just doesn't fully cut it with those two other units. Like, 17 individually, way too good. Then the LF androids individually, way too good when they get rolling. Cell, he's very good individually, but you're just playing like a risky game with two purples and two very squishy units. Like, the support 17 can only tank so well, and you're just, again, you're not playing like a very concrete game. It's very much a risk-reward match there. And I guess because it's not the greatest team, it makes sense, but you know, the androids were very close to making it. Cell's also very close to making it, and I would say MUI is in a boat of making it, just because Sun Family got a buff. He's on Sun Family. He can, you know, have the utility that doesn't have with the auto mechanic. He is a very good individual-based unit, just not his time to shine right now. Let me actually pull something up here on the side real quickly on this one unit before I continue on. But yeah, number 10, I will keep Piccolo there. I do think he just had to gain some value. Just, it makes sense, right? Like, again, this is a new green to the purple. Like, some purple has to gain value. Just simplistic as that. Number 9, I'm thinking here. Okay. I see. Okay. So number 9, I do want to say that this unit still has value. I think it's gone down since Legends Fest began, which, why has it gone down though? Has it gone down that much? I don't know. Maybe this unit's just not that good, but they are to be top 10. I will say number 9 and 8 can't swap because I'm thinking about number 9 and 8 right now. I will say though that I'm trying my best here, man. I'm trying my best to think about this fully. I'm going to say number 9 is LF Trunks. I do think LF Trunks can do nice work. I think LF Trunks is a very good sniping character. He does build up through his damage. It does retain itself once he does build up. And the only negative to him is that he's just a worse off third than Puddle, than the Tag 4s. And he is obviously more replaced on a leader slot basis because the Tag 4 is being so good, but Trunks can do work. He actually does do a lot to Piccolo because it's a sword, right? Piccolo takes a lot of slice damage because he's bugged with that 10 slice he does have. Trunks can do nice work. I'm not too confident in him. Like, I like him. I like that I want to like him, but like, there's spots where I really get disappointed by him. Then there's spots that he's like, okay, back to back, just like, okay, here's an ultimate, boom, 2 units are dead. Like, there's spots that either one of those happens. He's a very polarizing unit to me, because sometimes you just can't get his build up. He's gonna do fucking air, it sucks. But there's sometimes where you get his build up, you get the right drop combos, you get the right timings and everything, kind of like the androids, but double ults are very nice in comparison. And then he just pops, like, he can go crazy, he can just 1v2 easily. But there's times where he just doesn't exist, like, Pan is doing more damage than Trunks sometimes, and it's just like what happened? Given, I will say this is one of the 9-star units, that he is 9 stars, it it's still 9 stars. It's a lot of stars, and this LF is new, so having more stars isn't really expected unless it's a festival unit because they're hype, and then, you know, you saved up for it. So Trunks does stay in top 10. I think it's kind of cutting it close. It's not the most confident top 10 placement, but I do think he can maintain himself good enough to make top 10. I think he can maintain himself enough. Not too well, but enough to work. And you know what? If you work, then I can't really complain about you, right? Number 8. Okay, again, these 6 through 10 is the hard placements. Remember that. These are very tough because 6 through 10 is very much a lot worse units than units far above. So, number 8. I do think it is Ultra Gogeta. I think, obviously, him being replaced by Beast Gohan exists, but he is still a very good blue, capable of locking in, capable of everything he can do. We all know what he can do. We all know his potential. We all know how good he's aged for being basically a year old at this point. He's like a month out from it. We all know how good he can be as an individual basis unit, and he still has goodness in him. Sure, has he been power crept a little bit in his damage, in his cut? Yes, that happens. It's gonna happen, but he's still on the best team in the game, being Movies / Sun Family, but it's still Movies, right? He's still a very good individual unit. He still can do comebacks. It's just that he's straight up replaced, so he has to go down. If the number 1 unit's blue, well, this guy's blue. The other blue has to gain more value. This guy has to go down. It's just the way it is sometimes, right? There's honestly not much else to say about him. We know how good he is. Number 7. Again, we're a tough spot. Number 7. Thinking about this one here. Thinking hard about this one here. Who goes here? I think I have a switch to make. Okay. I think I have a switch to make. Yeah, okay, I got an idea. So, everyone's gonna go up 1, and number 10 is gonna be the new 17. I think, because of how good GT is as an individual-based team, obviously the free-to-play 17 represents the new 17. As an individual-based team, GT is... It has to be better than Fusions right now, right? Like, is that a hot take? You have LF Furoku, who's, I mean, gonna be in the top 6 minimum, obviously, here. Then you also have Super Baby 2, full power, Super Saiyan 4, obviously, the tag 4s. I think Fusions is just worse off than GT. And then you have Movies, which is better, so that's why 17's worse, but 17 solo is better than Piccolo, but Movies is so good that's better than GT. 17 has to make top 10. He's just so good. Like, that, the green card, dude. The green card, Nullify Endurance, when he pops the green card, just get to rush. And you can't, like, Beast Gohan. That's the problem with them. You can't rush him, right? 17 ignores that completely. The sub count up into a green card, if you're comboing already, you can't counter that. Your Beast Gohan gets sniped. You could literally just snipe out anybody in the entire game because of 17. And he's on boost, and there's no yellow that's like that tanky. It's only Puddle. Puddle's the only yellow that's going to be in this top 10. He has to be there. New 17. I think he kind of teeters on the, 10, 11, 12 scale, but I do think he makes it barely. Yeah. Everyone else just has to move up 1 because he obviously made it to the list. All right, now this feels a lot easier to make. Now, number 6. Number 6, let me actually touch up here. So number 1 will be you. Number 2 will be you. Number 3 will be you. 4 will be you. 5 will be you. 6 will be you. Okay, so, actually, this is a little bit tough. I think top 6 is very concrete in the units in it. I will say that. But this 6th placement's a little bit tough. So, you're number 1. You're number 2. Number 4. This is tough. Oh, I'm actually thinking hard about this. I think I thought hard about this on the other list, because these are 2 not new units. I mean, one's new Zenkai, which gives it away for Ku. Forku or Broly? Forku or Broly? Doesn't it have to be Forku as 5 and Broly as 6? I think it has to be, actually. Yeah. Dude, there's 2 yellows. Dude, Broly cannot. No. I'm sorry. Broly? No. The thing is with Broly, he's gonna lose that neutral. Like I mentioned, the neutral against Vegito, and that's like something that matters that he can't really have because he's gonna get the gauge and all that stuff. But Forku's going to get card draw speed, then more card draw speed, then more key on main, then more key if they swap. Like he's gonna get all these things and just keep comboing past that defensive neutral. Nah, Broly has to be 6, and that's not a bad placement, by the way. Broly is similar to a vein of like when LF Cell was like in a real running for like a top 10 unit just consistently over and over again. It's a unit you don't see often, but their value you know exists. It's kind of strange because he came out with Cooler, then Cooler was number 1, and then people didn't summon for Broly because Cooler was number 1. People slandered Broly, no one liked Broly, then people understood Broly actually has value and he has high stars, and here we are now. People don't get to see him because they didn't think he was good enough on release, so they didn't summon for him, which makes sense. The Broly, he is the only wall of PvP that is meant to wall PvP. Pan support type that does wall as well pretty nicely against most of the meta, but who's meant to wall is Broly, right? Like that's like his objective, the gauge's objective, the cut, the neutral, everything. His objective is to wall and then pop off after being in from walling with double card draw speed, with cover null off gauge. He wants to go crazy with all that stuff, so having him here is number 6. It's just that there's 2 yellows above, and then the reason he would maybe gain more value is because the tag 4 is again green, but then at the same time, well, he's purple, right? So you just go for the Vegeta, and then you have that situation fixed out. And I ran into one Ultra Broly, I think it was like a 10 stars, or 12 stars, I think, and he was Zenkai buffed, and I just did like 65% from Vegeta, because I stalled so long Vegeta's combo that I didn't get his gauge popped, but I made his neutral run out, so I just stalled that long and I just sniped him out. And it was like, oh, like yes, advantage, but the fact that I could just do that so easily and there was like no issue with it, Broly wasn't going to do anything to anybody, it kind of hurt. And that was like the Zenkai buff 12-star Broly. It's like, oh, jeez, come on, man. But Broly, he does do his job well. It's just you need power. You have defense, well, you need power. And defense is just worse than power at this point. Defense is worse than offense right now. Defense doesn't matter as much as offense right now, honestly. It's a scary state. So having a defensive unit, even this high, it's kind of gas. It's validated, but it's like gas that this guy is even this high. Like individually, very solid. Very solid. Let me take a swig of coffee before we begin, or continue this rather. Well, begin the top 5, the ones that matter, right? Again, for my coffee here. I will say, number 1 to number 2, that's like a Z plus tier to like a Z tier. 2 to 4, I would say they're all in like a Z tier realm. And then, I would say, yeah, 2 to 4, 2 to 3 are in like a Z tier realm. 4 to like 6 is like S plus, and then 6 to like, I would say 6 to 10, they're all like S. That's kind of how I'd rate this. If you're thinking of it like that, like that's how good a number 1 is compared to number 2. As we continue on, right? Now we get to the big guns. So, number 5, I mentioned it already. It is LF Forku. I think this unit, actually, I don't see him as often as I'd like to, but this unit's value is just, dude, this guy is like ridiculous. With the tag 4s, he now has a perfect partner in color synergy. You actually have a perfect color synergy team of green, yellow, red, with Pan as well. If you want to run like a Sun family basis for him, obviously it does work out for his peer because he has a Sun fan base or a GT base peer, so you could just rock that. But this unit with the cover rescue, that's a lot of value because how the tag 4s work is later game, they lose their cover null that they can't get on the tags. So with that, cover rescue becomes more important, and then Forku wants to be alive longer and be that last man, second man standing to really pop off, so he gets to do that a lot more concrete. If you're wondering, hey, well, Pan exists. Yeah, but you could just run Sun Family and run Beast Gohan. Like, that. It's just that easy, right? You just run the unit that works with him on the team. That's also color synergy, blue and yellow. Forku as an individual unit is high and mighty. He is easily the best Zenkai in the game right now. There's no debate. I don't think anyone comes even close. MV would probably be like in a running, but MV is like top 15 to me, right? This guy's 10 places ahead, and you know how differential the tiers are from like 5 to 10 even. Like, these units are not even comparable, number 5 to number 10, and then they're on the same list. That's how wide this power creep is. So, Furuku here, very good. Just, I was shocked how good he ended up being because of how much they didn't give in his kit. I guess he didn't need as much as I thought he needed, so props to that. And, I mean, just getting a perfect partner, just getting more help, getting better equipments, like, even that, he got a lot of good equipment upgrades with Awakened equips. I mean, he got gassed up, he got pushed forward, he got agenda'd, and, well, the agenda kind of worked out, because look where his placement is, number 5 on a tier list. I think that's a pretty good spot for him here. Now, number 4. Alrighty, we have hit a, you know, every match type of unit threshold here, so let's get ready for it. Number 4 is going to be my best friend, your best friend, all of our friends here, Mr. Puddly Boy. Now, individually, I just want to say, Furuku is better than Puddle. That's obvious. I think everyone knows that. But, obviously, with the hybrid team of Beast, Pan, Puddle, still exists. I ran the team of, the last video, wait no, 2 videos ago actually, I ran the team of Pan, Tag Force, and Puddle, which is just Sun Family, honestly. And that made, you know, Tag Force go crazy. It's just that you can double support any unit in the entire game because the no restriction. While running the hybrid equips, you're just set for life. So you just run that double support with Pan, with Puddle, and any unit in the game just goes crazy, goes berserk, because all that support from getting hit, from your allies getting hit, from, you know, the sub counts down, for the endurance, from the main ability, the green and blue seal, which is very good against Tag Force, by the way, because Goku spawns a blue when he tags in, I think every single time, and then the Tag Force green is usually how they start off combos, because that's going to be an AoE green, which is a normal startup, normal length animation, so if you miss it, you can't sidestep out, but if they just have them sealed, what the hell can they do? They can't do anything. So, Puddle obviously has great value. I will explain why he's went down, because he did go down, when we get to the unit that made him go down. But Puddle has very good value. He is just a worse off Pan right now, but him having the plat being a very good plat, because, I mean, they want Puddle to age well, and Puddle, he only fell off for like a couple months. Like, this guy from release was underappreciated, as no one really understood him, because he didn't really make much sense to what he looked like on, you know, paper and kit, to like how he performed in action. People just didn't realize this much support was like the thing he wanted to do. But then he got appreciated, he got, you know, rated high, didn't get his plat for a good minute, and then he got his plat, and then he just got skyrocketed back up to resurgence of right here. Again, individually, there's units that are above him that are better than him, the units that are below him that are better than him, but this game's not individual, it is a team-based game, so having him here, I think, is very agreeable, I would say. I don't think he can fall out of the top 5 for right now. Again, we will see with the new Legends Fest parts that come as Part 2 and Part 3 come out. But right now, Puddle still does the puddling thing, and you know what? He deserves it. He does. He deserves this. I mean, does he? Maybe not, but hey, he has it, so he takes that. Now, number 3. This is one I know people will be like, oh, gonna write that down in the script book as something interesting. Number 3, I will say, is Pan. Yes, I do not think Pan is top 2. I think Pan has gone down a little bit. Again, I will explain why Puddle and Pan have gone down a little bit when I get to the unit that went over them. But the goodness of Pan is obviously her main, her green, her blue, her debuff power, her cover change as well, right? Which she doesn't even deserve to even have a cover change. Like, what? She didn't even do anything, bro. You beat up some guards. Like, come on. Like, real stuff here. The Demon Child. Obviously, you guys know the green cards, the blue cards, all the crazy shit she can do. As she can spawn for your allies, the support, she does the same thing as Puddle on support. When she gets hit, support. When she does swap outs that support like Vados, so she's a mix of Vados and Puddle. They are literally the same unit, just conjoined into Pan. Like, that's what Pan is. The culmination of 2 broken support units that came out as broken support units on their release, and she became both with having defenses equivalent to an LF. At 14 stars, Pan has 2k less defenses than LF Beast Gohan. The support type Pan, 2k less defenses. And you can't fail to mention her teams of movies, of Sun Fam, of hybrids. I would say Sun Family, top tier team, because it's the same thing as movies. Hybrids, the same exact thing. And then movies, the same exact thing, right? Obviously, you have the Tag 4s instead for the hybrids and movies variants, but they're all still top tier teams that weren't obvious enough. And it's just, again, her individual value is ridiculous. They, again, still are on boost with the Beast, Pan, all these characters, but I don't see Pan moving lower than, like, top 7 after boost, to be real. I don't think Beast moves lower than top 7 after boost. I think Pan will age better than Beast, because support stuff usually just ages better, because we don't get that many support units like that, like, capability of Pan. Like, 17 has the capabilities of Pan, but he's simply just a worse Pan on worse teams, right? So he just won't be as good. We're not going to get power of Pan. Like, we're just not going to get the same power of her. So she's going to age well, and she's probably going to maintain, like, top 5 for, like, months. I mean, I assume so, right? This is, again, pre all the stuff that comes out. I assume so at this rate. But number 2. Oh, man. I think you guys know at this point, all right? Number 2. It is not actually G4. It is not actually G4. It is not actually G4. It is the Tag 4s. It's just that they're not here on the tier list at the moment. It was not updated yet when I'm on it right now. It is the Tag 4s. Let me explain why Tag 4s are above Pan and Puddle, because I think that is something that should be touched on. I think having them above LF4Ku is understandable, so I'm not going to touch on that. But why they're above Pan and Puddle? Now, individually, I think it's because of that. Yes, I said this is a team-based game. That makes sense. It is. I agree with that. Now, how I value something, and I did this during Revhan when he was around, and I think it was a misjudgment on my part, and I apologize for the misjudgment. You could see Revhan's not even actually on this list because I've really understood how I misjudged that. For Revhan, I thought he just felt like a safer option as a unit to help you make this comeback instead of running a 1v3 team with Pan, Beast, Puddle, right? I just didn't like that premise. I was very much against it. I used it. I was like, all right, this is way too good as a 1v3 team. It has to be the best team in the game, right? So, where I thought about this with the Tag 4s was a similar vein to Revhan, where Revhan has way too low of his beginning, right? That's the problem with Revhan. He doesn't do anything. Pre-revival, he doesn't do anything. And you also had Puddle running around. Then you eventually had 4Ku running around. So there was just a big problem there. Now with the Tag 4s, it is different for 2 reasons. 1, they are way more damaging as an individual unit, late game, early game, honestly more early game because they have the cover null, right? Because the 3 enemy thing with the cover null. Early game, mid game, late game. They can do comebacks. They are a 1v3 type of unit. If you didn't see their video with them with Pan and Beast right there, check that out where they're 14 stars and just looking like, they looked like Beast Gohan because they're on the team where Beast Gohan was number 1. So they looked exactly like him in that video. And from that, I would say the safety net that they offer with a couple of things, which we'll touch on right now. 1, they have the sub count. Now, with the sub count down, they have to have an Awakened Arts, Ultimate Arts, and or a Rush done against them, and then they lower sub count by 10. What this means, and this is why I said the androids actually gain some value because the endurance nullification, but right now there's nobody doing that besides Ultra Gogeta, and Ultra Gogeta's not even run. So really nobody's doing it. What that means though, is nobody can rush with the Tag 4s out because you have Beast Gohan on the team. If you have Beast Gohan on the team, you get endurance on rush. So you cannot rush the Tag 4s out. That's one safety precaution. That means over Puddle, over Pan, he's more safe because yes, you can lower sub count with these units, but you cannot fully pre-plan this lower sub count with 4 greens from Pan when I want to use the greens with Beast or I want to use the greens with Puddle. Like, you don't want to waste your greens, right? So you don't have to pre-plan as much, and you can play a little bit more risky because you have that lower 10. Lower 10. That's one thing. Second thing, the green cards. It's just so easy to catch people in combos, especially early game again with the cover null situation. it's too good. I will say a negative to the Tag 4s, and units, every unit below number 1 has a negative, right? Pan's damage is lacking, Puddle takes a good bit to get rolling on his own, Forku's, you know, pretty mediocre early game in comparison to his late game, Broly's lacking on offense, Trunks has to build up, Gogeta has to really, like, thrive in that situation where someone's dead on his team, then he, like, does his Gogeta thing of, like, you know, clutching up a match or throwing a match. With the 4s, their negative is the Vegeta. Now, how they are meant to work, from my understanding, is that you would always just prioritize using the Goku right now. And actually, the Vegeta isn't the worst, because you do have 2 units of that purple down there in the 9 and 10 slot. But nonetheless, you prioritize the Goku, you want to do blue cards with the Goku, and then Vegeta is simply a pivot option to give you some cards, to give you some stalling, to give you some timer counts down. Now, if you get caught while in Vegeta, you're in for a bad time. You know, if you get Beast Gohan, he catches you, he does 2 cards, you're dead. It's just that simple. It's how it works. But I will say the goodness of Goku with the criticals, with the blue card, with the Vanish back, with a lot of mobility to stay in the field, I can't vouch that support from Puddle is good enough. I can't vouch that support from Pan without a full concrete way to stop rushes from happening on your other units is good enough. I think the safety net, and I kind of said this with Revhan, but again, I've understood that that's just not realistic as and true as this is here. The safetiness of the Tag 4s in comparison to Revhan, in comparison to Pan, in comparison to Puddle, in comparison to everybody, honestly, is way higher, and that's really it. It's the rush protection that the Tag 4s offer. Yes, their damage is great. Yes, their stalling is good. Yes, their cover null. Yes, their Dragon Ball gain, destruction, all that stuff, it's great. But their stalling into the rush protection, I think it's unequivocally beyond me, just bonkers. That's why I think they're number 2. Yes, you do lose out on some pure equips, but reminder, you're still running Pan. You're running the support that gives you like over 100% damage inflicted at a highest threshold, with Beast Gohan who's entering at like almost 200% damage inflicted. Like, you do not need that much support, and the Tag 4s allow you, if you do lose your Beast Gohan, to have a lot more of a safety comeback, and at least a situation to even come back. Because let me tell you, Pan Puddle, when I lose Beast Gohan early game, and that'll happen eventually, it's not like you're going to play perfect every game. You're going to get caught. You're going to lose your Beast. It's going to suck. You're probably not winning that. But with the Tag 4s and Pan and Beast, that's why I think the team's the best team in the game. I think you are much better off in a spot to come back, to clutch up, whether it be with Beast, whether it be with the Tag 4s, and you're not losing enough support to make the Tag 4s lose their value and go down below Puddle, below Pan. That's how I feel about that. Alright, we done there? Alright, well, number 1's Beast Gohan, alright. That's the video, basically. Number 1's Beast Gohan, yeah, basically. Obviously, Beast Gohan has no flaws. This guy can, you know, probably one card the Tag 4s. He can one card. I'm looking here. Everyone, I mean, doesn't have endurance. Yeah, he can probably one card. Everyone doesn't have endurance. So, 1 unit. 1 unit, okay. He can't one card 1 unit. He's mid. But in all reality, I mean, Beast Gohan's Beast Gohan, right? He's run on the best teams. He is the best unit. He is an entire team. You literally just had the best team in the game be him, and that's it. It's just 2 support units and him. So that was the best team, right? He is a team. He is a far threshold above. It's like if I were to make space in between these tiers, it would be number 1, space, then number 2, space, then, well, no, 2 and 3 would be the same spots, and then number 4 would be like 2 spaces through 6. And then it would kind of just be like 3 spaces, maybe, from like 7 to 10, right? Maybe 4 to 5 could be like 1 space, and 7 through 10 is like 2 spaces below, though. Like, thresholds are far. But, yeah, Beast Gohan is, he's him. I mean, we know he's him. I actually don't have to say more about it. It's just simplistic like that. But yeah, this is my top 10. Beast Gohan number 1, the Tag 4s representing himself as G4 here. Number 2, Pan at number 3, Puddle number 4, Forku number 5, Broly number 6, Ultra Gogeta number 7, Trunks number 8, Piccolo number 9, and the new 17 represented as the free-to-play 17 as number 10. If I were to maybe move something and I could argue, or have someone argue against me, hey, could this swap around? I would say there's 2 things that could swap around, and I'm more confident in one than the other, so I'll touch on that one first. Can the Tag 4s and Pan swap around? I wouldn't swap them. I think this is fine. But if you want to say Tag Force and Pan can swap, I wouldn't argue with you. I'd be like, you know what? I don't agree, but I can understand your perspective of that. So I would say they can swap. And then the other swappable thing actually would be 10 and 9. I actually do think 17 can swap a Piccolo, because individually 17 is just better. But, I mean, Movies is the best team in the game. Whether it's going to be with Piccolo or not, it's still the best team in the game. So I have to give the respect to Piccolo. But if you want to swap them, I wouldn't hold it against you. I wouldn't be like, that can't happen. Nah, I think that's actually doable. So, yeah, that's my top 10 list. Let me know what you guys think of it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.